For more on the SOE reforms, we're joined by Yukon Huang. He's a senior associate at Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. His research focuses on China's economic development and its impact on the global economy. The right person for us to be talking to. Welcome to the program, sir.
Pleasure to be here.
So explain to us, what do these reforms of state-owned enterprises involve, and is this a big deal?
It follows a long-standing principle in China in terms of how they deal with state enterprises. They call it diversification of ownership. In this particular case, allowing and encouraging private interests to buy into state enterprises, and this will give a more diversified ownership, both private and public, and also encouraging other state enterprises to list on the stock exchange, and thereby increasing its ownership structure through going to the market. In that sense, it's a very good step. But those looking for more dramatic, radical reforms, perhaps a little bit disappointed.
So how does this work, Mr. Wang? If I'm a private citizen in China and I have the funds to do this, I will be allowed to buy one of these companies?
Well, if it goes to the market and floats shares, then individual households or people or corporations, they could buy a few shares, they could buy a lot of shares. The diversification of existing ownership of major companies is more likely to occur through private companies negotiating and buying a certain number of shares in existing companies. These are unlikely to be individuals. These are more likely to be private companies and investors.
I see. And this is something that had been in the works for a while. This is not a sudden decision by Beijing.
No, it's not. It's been piloted over the last year or two. They've been encouraging more private companies to buy in. There's been a little bit of reluctance for them to do so. They want to ask the question, if I come in and I'm a minority owner, can I really change the performance? What influence will I have? And the question is, how committed is the government to actually changing the way these companies operate?
That's a good question. So how committed is the government?
Well, let's see what's going to happen. I mean, one key question is, what about the managers of this company? And they say that the board of directors will have a greater say in influencing the choice of these managers, which currently are being appointed through the government, what I call civil service party structure. So that's a big issue. But it's hard to see, and no specifics on this, who will be allowed to basically appoint the CEO. We don't know that kind of a question.
When I was doing my research, I was trying to find out what the goal of these reforms are. And one of the articles I found, the author had written, it's to improve SOE efficiency and competitiveness without relying on outright privatization. Is that an accurate assessment, sir?
I think it's quite correct. Profitability of state enterprises has deteriorated over the last 7 to 8 years. They're about half the level of private companies. This did not occur before the global financial crisis. And the major reason is that many private companies have expanded too quickly. There are also industries with excess stock, the construction industries, the heavy industries. They have overcapacity. So how do you deal with this? And the answer is they want to bring in some more private management. They also want to consolidate. They want to merge. They want to combine some of the profit-losing companies.
And what does this mean for everyday Chinese citizens? What does it mean for foreign and private investors?
For everyday citizens, the basic hope is that the government be more efficient, that production can continue, that prices will be sensible, that jobs will be preserved. Over the long run, however, most of the jobs in China's economy will be generated by private companies, as they have been over the last 10 years. So I guess for the SOE reform to work, you also have to have a dynamic private sector which is expanding, because inevitably there will be some restructuring needed.
Mr. Wang, how long will it take to implement this entire process? Is it a 1-year plan, 2-year plan, a 5-year plan?
Well, the government's indicated they want to see some results by 2020. And what they're really signaling is this is a plan that's going to be changing, evolving with circumstances. And in real reality, the reality means that reform will actually take place over the next 10 years, a generation. This is not something that'll occur over a couple of years.
And I know you'll be watching it for us. Thank you so much, Dr. Yukon Huang. We appreciate your time, sir.
You're welcome.